Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome to my fan commentary on episode 36 of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue in the Limelight, which is the final regular episode until we get to our four-part game episode endgame. I'm sorry if I'm messing this up a little bit while sinking through with this commentary. Endgame arc, because thinking back to this episode of Lightspeed Rescue, I can't even tell which episode of the season is worse, because while we've had a few good gems of episodes out there, like, you know, episodes with Ryan as the Titanium Ranger, like from Deep in the Shadows, and even the pilot episode Operation Lightspeed, and then when the Rangers got the Omega Zords, because this episode, given that with the context of this episode in the beginning with Jinxer entering the cave where Queen Benshir is trying to excise unlimited power for her to gain a full body, it makes sense why they had to put this episode before our four-part endgame arc. But I just kind of wish they should have put this episode somewhere a few episodes earlier before we get to our four-part finale. Because if you haven't listened to my fan commentary for Rise of the Super Demons a couple months ago, I said that if you were to condense Wrath of the Queen, Rise of the Super Demons, and the two-part Fate of Lightspeed finale, those episodes, if you combine those four episodes together, it's actually a four-part series finale to Lightspeed. This is Vibra's final main episode in an appearance, because in the next episode, Wrath of the Queen, that's when we'll last see her within Lightspeed Rescue, but she will come back, of course, for the Time Force team-up. The Treevil monster was from a totally earlier Go-Go 5 episode. I don't know why in the majority of the Lightspeed Rescue episodes for like the opening credits, that in most episodes of Lightspeed, if Ryan is not with the other Rangers, I know they have to keep him credited because he's still a part of the cast. But I just kind of wish that in most of the episodes, if Ryan is not with the other Rangers, common sense, they should have just kept him out in case we only go for episodes where he does appear. But it makes sense. But even that would be the same would be said about Russell Lawrence playing Mike in Lost Galaxy. If he's not in any of the episodes that don't feature him, why even include him in the opening credits still at all? Yeah, but anyway, but the Treevil monster was from an earlier Go-Go 5 episode. I don't know why on earth did they actually manage to adapt this monster very late before we get to the end. I know they wanted to kill some time before we get to our four-part finale to the season. I even learned stuff about the skeletal structure back in middle school, high school science. I would say mainly middle school, though. Yeah, this monster attacks people in Mariner Bay, but it feels like a very boring plot. Of course, the Rangers have to go out and help those people why they got injured by this monster's acorn bombs. While this is some foreshadowing for Time Force's full exposure episode with the photographer taking photos of the Rangers doing stuff. Well, again, this episode did it first before Time Force's full exposure. Excuse me. Dana was doing so good character-wise, but this episode, in my opinion, is what really ruined the character for me. She was doing okay since the beginning of the season, but as soon as we get near the end, then it doesn't. Then all of a sudden, this episode causes her to shirk her ranger duties in favor of being a model, part-time model, and then being a snob about it. And also, this episode tests Kelsey's friendship with Dana, which is typical for, you know, yellow and pink Ranger friendships. You know, if the yellow Ranger is a girl just like the pink. So I kind of wish we had an episode like this earlier, back in like the Zordon era, it wouldn't make sense for the Zordon era, because most of the Rangers there were teenagers, And especially during Mighty Morphin with Kimberly and Trini, or Kimberly Aisha, because they were in high school, so it wouldn't work. But I would say, okay, same building from Trakeena's Revenge. Ha, coincidence. Same building where Trakeena and the Tri-Skull and the Ghouls were in this season. This Coco Cashmere character, this is just basically Power Rangers' equivalent to the late Joan Rivers. They tried, when given that you couldn't get the real celebrity, because back in those days with Power Rangers, and even today, you can't get big name celebrities like Joan Rivers, well, when she was still alive, to do this part. So they had to get a look-alike of Joan Rivers to do this Coco Cashmere character. Yeah, sure, yeah, there is a character like Coco LaBouche from Rugrats in Paris, but what can you do? I mean, Dana's admirations was wanting to basically do medical school after her time of being a ranger was over. Why on earth was, just because she was spotted by a photographer taking a photo of her doing some rescue stuff, and they thought her face would work for the camera as a fashion model or some such. It just kills it. And I think this totally does bring a rift to Dana and Kelsey's relationship. Sure, we have plenty of times where we've had some Rangers shirk their duties and stuff, and it's just like, or maybe it was just only this episode. I understand a lot of Rangers need lives outside of their saving the world from monsters and villains and stuff. But when there's a time, I don't think most Rangers like this really should have the time to take off some moments like this. It just feels unprecedented, and also spark jealousy in the team, and also all that money and then also that money, of course. And she probably just only doing it for the money. She's not really doing it as a full-time job or anything, and while also being a Ranger. I always found Allison McInnes, Dana's actress, pretty attractive. Of all the Pink Ranger actresses we had from the Saban era, she was one of my favorite actresses. And knowing that she's the last blonde-haired female Pink Ranger for a while until Sydney, by the time we had Jen next season, yeah, we know Jen was, the best, and she was, tough as nails, but she was also feminine still, but she was still tough as nails and badass. But I can't believe we had so many, like, of all the, one of the things with these Pink Rangers we had over the years, we had so many blonde women as Pink Rangers. Then we had like some brunette ones. The only brunette ones I can think of is Kimberly, Cassie, Jen, Vita, Rose, Mia, Emma, and Sarah. She had like some bits of blonde and brunette to her hair tone, and even our new Pink Ranger as of right now at the time of this recording, Amelia and Dino Fury. But we had like so many blondes as the Pink Ranger, like, Catherine, Kendricks, Carone, Dana, here, and Sid, and yeah, oh my god, list goes on with the blondes versus the brunettes of Pink Rangers. In the Go-Go 5 episode, this was based on, the monster had a different purpose, because it makes sense for them to do this whole entire episode completely American, and I think they probably only did it just to save money, because they didn't want to waste all the money they planned for their finale, like Saban did the last time with Lost Galaxy, which would explain why we had the Captain Mutiny stuff for the remainder half before the finale. So it makes a lot of sense why they had to do this episode. And, I'll give this episode credit that this was one of the many episodes of Lightspeed before the end where they didn't use no Sentai footage, and the only bit of Sentai footage being the Megazord fight, with Trevel, and that's about it. Yeah, that pun intended about I'm leafing. That's funny. I could barely see some of the buffs of injuries on the Rangers' faces. And see what I'm saying? This is what began the rift between the two in the episode. She really should. I mean, Dana really should have helped the others, but nope, she got occupied by the Glitz magazine crew with the modeling, and then that explains the butt feather boa, the makeup, the way how her hair is done, her morpher being taken away. I just think that Kelsey is really getting really jealous that Dana is getting more attention. Than well, because no, at least she's not in this. It's just only Dana because this was her episode. It's so unfortunate that Dana had some good episodes earlier in the season. As soon as we get near the end, then things got really, really worse for me. And I think this is the worst, one of the many worst episodes of Lightspeed Rescue. As much as I still don't like episodes like Trakina's Revenge or the episodes with Chad and the Mermaid Girl, but this is the worst one. I mean, what made it worse for me was because, Dana was my favorite Pink Ranger, but I think, she was doing okay character-wise, but it just sucks that she was spotted by the magazine people and thinking she would be a great cover model for Glitz magazine. Uh, Even in the Power Rangers universe, the paparazzi can be overwhelming when you become a celebrity, even in this franchise's world. Of all the times we saw those spa mud masks on Kendrick's and Maya's faces back in Stolen Beauty. Although the next episode, fan commentary I'm going to do is another Pink Ranger episode similar to this from the last season with Kendrick's, but it's different. At least we didn't have this kind of episode in GoGo 5 with the Pink Ranger being a model or anything. They got so many magazines and billboards of her everywhere. The price of being a celebrity can be also be overwhelming too. At least Dana's not an actress, but and if she shirked her duties of being a ranger in favor of being a Hollywood star, again, being smitten with jealousy. Wow, you're gonna take a Sharpie marker and draw a mustache on Dana's face? Very mature, Kelsey. Very mature. Last bit of training for the season for the Lightspeed Rangers because they've done it so much. I think they've been well trained enough. I don't think they should do no more training after this, but I guess Captain Mitchell wants them to train more. And then, while the others are doing all that particular military training, and then you got Dana being a prissy about it, like not, no offense, but being a prissy about it, not wanting to get her nails broken, getting dirty because again she has a job with that modeling thing. So, and then as soon as she gets a phone call and drops the rope, and then Kelsey falls into the mud. Yeah, that talk to the hand thing. And seeing the mud on on Kelsey's face makes it look like like somebody threw a bunch of cups of coffee at her, making her look all scary with all, and even look really scary with that mud on her face and her outfit. basically maybe they should have just took the morpher away from her until this blows over, because I don't think she really shouldn't be doing this modeling thing when knowing Queen Banshira is still afoot on her attacks on Mariner Bay. And again, as Power Rangers, you really, you have to focus on your main goal first. I mean, I understand there's time for, a personal life while you're doing your superhero thing, but again, the decision is yours. I mean, given that, doing this modeling or being a celebrity thing than being a ranger now, it just feels wrong. But no, I don't think she really should be doing this. But I noticed that, according to Ranger Wiki, they did adapt a story episode from Die Ranger, which was very similar to this in essence. So they took an element of Die Ranger's story threads for a Lightspeed Rescue episode, which, according to Ranger Wiki, that they took the story element of this Ranger being an idol thing from Die Ranger episode 33, whereas the Trevel whereas Trevel came from the 5th episode of GoGo 5. Okay, fair enough. That would explain why they couldn't use the Omega Megazord or the Lightspeed Solar Zord formation this episode. If you want to do complete original footage, now I minded them using original footage of them using the V Lancers and do that attack, but until they get blasted back, which I mind them doing because saving money, of course, for until the finale saga for the season. This is going to be the last time we're going to see the Lightspeed Rescue cycles also. And this is the last regular Megazord battle until the finale. And this is the last time the Lightspeed Megazord is going to use its saber to finish off a monster during a Zord fight, given that they had to use footage from a earlier GoGo 5 episode for this episode. I mean, this episode, despairingly, was just not great in my standards because while I didn't really liked how they have to, they had Dana being pushed to do this glitch girl thing, it was really stupid of the show to give them a break before we get to the finale. If this episode happened a little earlier, let's say if this happened before the Web War and after Chad had to help the mermaid girl again, Marina, and Neptune's daughter, I could see that. But this episode really didn't have to happen before we get to the finale and after what had transpired. This would cost this the Glitz Girl the Glitz magazine will make its appearance again until roughly 20 years later in Beast Morphers. I was about to say Beast Wars, sorry. So Glitz magazine will make an appearance again until Power Rangers Beast Morphers in that episode with Nate and Zoe later. And, you know, in the episode Secret Struggle, so makes sense that they have to bring that back sometime later. Yeah, Into the Limelight is just not a great episode for me, and personally, of all episodes of Lightspeed, this was the worst in my book. But if you thought it was a good episode, more power to you. But to me, this was just the worst episode they ever had for the regular run of episodes until the finale. Because, boy, Lightspeed Rescue had some serious hits and misses during its run, but I can give you that. That's for sure.